Welcome to InTheVortex.Party, your live virtual hot seat podcast for manifestation masters looking to milk reality for everything it's worth. I'm your host, Nick Bro, and I'm here to help you find out where the law of attraction is going wrong so you can get it right. If you'd like to join in our next live call, register at http://InTheVortex.Party. Welcome, everybody, to the first call of 2017. The format for tonight's call is the same as all the previous weeks. We're going to spend the first 15 or so minutes talking about tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is around surrendering and letting go. Then we're going to move into the general Q&A, where you guys can ask questions based, around tonight's topic or around law of attraction in general. Talk about where you're stuck, looking for some breakthroughs. So, just kind of wherever the energy takes us. And again, before hopping into tonight's topic, I just ask you guys to, again, keep your microphones muted until we get to the Q&A. In the Q&A, if you have a question, just kind of, wave your hand. There should be a button, a hand button that puts a hand up. If I don't see you, maybe type a message in the chat. And hopefully I'll see you and we'll get your questions answered. So again, thanks for tuning in and let's get started. So the reason I chose letting go or surrendering as tonight's topic is because it's a topic that a lot of people struggle with. And it's also a topic that's come up a lot in my clients over the last 4 to 6 weeks. So I figured it was an important topic to review and something I don't think we've touched on a whole lot in previous calls. So in order to understand how to surrender or how to let go, we really need to dissect the whole process of surrender and what surrendering really means and what we're trying to do or achieve in surrendering. So why is it difficult to let go or to surrender, right? Because we've got this obsession around this desire. So deep down at this core level, there's something that we really, really want and we just can't let it go, right? So for some people, it might be money. For some people, it might be a relationship. For some people, it might be career or business success, right, for the entrepreneurs. For coaches, it might be drawing in clients, enough clients to make a living, right? So again, there's this deep down desire for something in a big way, so big that you just can't let it go. You can't stop thinking about it. So why is it that you want that specific thing so badly? It's because at a conscious level, so the rational mind, believes that the only way you can achieve a certain feeling state is through that desire, right? Because any desire that we have is fueled by an emotional state, right? Anything we want is because we believe that in having that thing, it's going to bring us relief. It's going to bring us to a better feeling place, right? Follow me on that, right? So if you want money, it's because you're looking for freedom. Right? If you want a relationship, it's because you're looking for love, for a connection, for completion, right? So anything you desire, it's because your rational mind believes that it's in having that desire, you're going to feel a certain way. So really, you're not really looking for the desire. You are at the surface, but underneath that, you're really looking for an emotional place. And the reason that there's an obsession in place for that desire is because you believe that the only way to achieve that emotional state is through that specific desire, right? So you want something really badly, right? You want to achieve an emotional state, and the only way you believe you can reach that emotional state is through that desire, right? And that's why you want that specific desire so badly. So the end game, right, is that ultimately you believe that that desire is going to make you happier, right? So if you're looking for that, super connected relationship, it's because you believe you're going to be happier in having it. If you want more money, you believe you're going to be happier in having it. So really anything you want is because you believe it's going to make you happier. Now, basically that's the problem, because what's going on is most people are living their lives looking for that 1, that 2, that 3, those really big desires, because we believe, well, if I had the money, I would be happy. If I had that relationship, I would be happy, right? So we're not focused on the small things. We're focused on those big things. We're living conditionally in such a way where we believe we need the big desires to achieve that state of happiness, right? We're putting all of our eggs in that one basket, right? But what happens is in seeking that desire constantly and obsessing about that desire to bring us happiness, we're taking our focus away from our present moment circumstances, right? The truth and the true path to living a consistently happy life isn't about achieving a desire that makes you happy, right? It's about learning how to be fully present in your current moment, in what you're experiencing, and finding the joy in those moments, right? It's by living an infinite string of tiny happy moments. That's what's going to create that happiness, that consistent happiness, right? Because if you're living your life to achieve big things and rely on those big things to make you happy, what's going to happen is you're going to achieve that big thing, but another desire is just going to come in and replace it, right? So it's all about learning to be consistently happy without depending on manifestations to drive that happiness, right? It's about being present with what you've got going on in your life and finding the joy in what's going on and in those small moments. Does that make sense? You guys follow me with that? Now, the desperation for the desire comes from the belief that this is what I need to be happy. But the truth is happiness is that inside job, right? You don't need that to be happy, but you're allowing the circumstance of the absence of the desire to make you unhappy, right? So right now, if you are 100% happy, if you are 100% emotionally fit, meaning that you felt free, right? You felt loved, you felt all the full spectrum of positive emotions, then your dependency on that desire would go away. Right? You would no longer feel like you need that desire. The desperation for the desire would go away because you're already in the happy state. Right? And that's when that process of letting go takes place. Right? And the way you do that in a practical sense is, again, learning to tune into the happiness, the joyful moments, right, that are going on in your current reality in the state you're in now. Right? Learning to not need to believe that you need that desire to thrive and bring in that happiness. Right? If you're in that happy state already, the dependency will go away. Right? So if you're dependent for money, if you're dependent for a relationship, take your focus off of those things or work on taking focus off of them. Work on being present in your current life and finding happiness in your current life. Right? You can't live a consistently happy, high-flying life if you're only allowing or depending on those big things to make you happy. Right? So that's the major shift you need to make. Stop depending on looking for this thing, get happy now. Right? If you're looking for money, work on feeling free now. Right? For me, the last 3 months were probably the happiest, funnest months I've had in as long as I can remember. Right? And that's because I spent lots of time with my kids, lots of time with my girlfriend. I made fun a priority, right? I went for a massage every week. I've been floating every week. I hung out with tons of friends, right? The last 3 weeks have been amazing, right? And I haven't, I've done well with my business and I've got speaking engagements, but even if those didn't happen, I'd still be at this happy high point, right? And it's because I'm busy enjoying my life as it is now, right? And that's the work you want to start doing, right? And I can guarantee that if you can achieve that state of happiness and focusing on the moments, the manifestations will come, right? Because you will be letting go, right? When you stop feeling like you need it, that's when the things start to show up. Okay. Does that make sense with everybody? Okay, I'm going to recap really quick, and then we can jump into the Q&A. So just to recap. So first of all, you can't let go of the desire. You've got a certain level of obsession with the desire, and that obsession with the desire is fueled by the belief that you need that specific desire to feel a certain way, right? You need to let go of the obsession by working on achieving a better feeling place, right? Once you feel better, right? Once you feel more free, the need for that desire will diminish. As the need for that desire diminishes, as you get happier, right? As you fill the emotional gap, the dependency on the desire will go away and you let it go. Do that by stop focusing on the desire, believing you need the desire to make you happy, which you don't, right? Focus on working on being happy in the present moment, in your present current circumstances. Right? Mindset work, right? Morning positive momentum work, right? It all comes down again to focusing on the way you feel and working on achieving a better feeling place by disconnecting from the outside circumstances, including the desire, right? And I can guarantee you, once you achieve those better feeling places, that obsession over the desire will diminish and it will be easier for you to let go, right? It'll be almost automatic, right? And shortly after, if you can maintain that state, that's when the desires will show up. A lot of people are manifesting, and we've talked about this before, right? Energy of the solution, energy of the problem. If you're in the energy of the problem, if you keep trying to figure it out, if you keep trying to manifest it through action, it's not going to happen because you're being stuck in the energy of the problem, right? For the desire to show up, you don't have to get into the energy of the solution. You just have to get out of the energy of the problem, off the topic, right? And that's the letting go process, right? Once you let go, you can get off the topic. And if you can stay off the topic long enough, it will manifest, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to hop into the Q&A. So again, if you have any questions around this topic, any questions, I see CG's already raising her hand. If you've got any questions around this topic or anything else in law of attraction in general, or just need help with a specific topic, or something that's going on in your life, put your hand up and hopefully we'll get all your questions answered tonight. So go ahead, CG, I saw you were waving your hand. Oh, I got you unmuted. There you go.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody. So first of all, I want to thank you to send me your book. I was so happy to win, and I've been starting to read it, in the train wherever I go, to my work, and I love it,
Good.
so much.
Good.
So I have two questions. I mean, the first one is not really a question. So what you have said to us, and I don't mean to bring everybody in my, a reflection of what you just said. Yeah. It means that, it's like us being on an island by ourselves. And if you're on this island and you don't even love yourself, then you don't even let it go. And you have to love yourself, even if you're on, by yourself on this entire planet. That's what you're saying about letting go?
Now you need to love yourself?
Well, you need to love yourself as a first base. Otherwise, you cannot let go anything. Is it what you're saying?
No, basically what I'm saying is that if you have a desire, let's say, money, right? The reason you want money is because of how money would make you feel.
Yeah.
Right? So if you had money, you would feel free.
Yeah.
Right? So you're obsessing about this need for money because you feel like you need safety and freedom, perhaps, right? Yeah. So if you already felt safety and freedom, which is an inside job, so if you could detach from the circumstances, feel free, feel safe, then the desperation for money would subside.
Okay, I got it.
And that's where you want to be, because once it subsides, then it's easier to let go. Okay. And if you can stay off the topic, then the manifestation will show up.
So it's not to focus on what we want, but the emotion that is first the result of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because everything you want is fueled by that inner emotion.
Yeah. What would be interesting is to have a book from you, saying that, money is equal to, that emotions, and, job equal to that emotion. I don't know if it could exist, but that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that specific correlation, because there's books that correlate physical symptomology with the emotional root causes.
Yeah.
And I've thought about what you've talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, most of it comes down to money, love, or physical, right? Those are the three things that people are after the most. There is a book that will be coming in 2017. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be about yet.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be part of it.
We don't know. So now my main question today is about I would say like maybe love relationship. I have I would say like about almost like 2 years relationship with a man, and this man, we fell in love with each other, but this man is married. We never had a sexuality together because, you know, I really want to respect, you know, her, put integrity into it. I mean, I really want to like be as not perfect, but, you know, doing the things right. He could have moved with me a long time ago, but I guess I have a sense of like guilt for him to move out from his marriage. So there's a lot of things. No matter what, to make a story short, is that he has many other things, you know, like me, I'm not perfect and I have many different issues in my life, but he has mainly like, you know, sometimes like anger issues, and sometimes he's going to burst his anger on me, you know, especially when we're in a restaurant or things like that. It's not often, but it can happen. And I feel like I'm going backward because I worked so hard from my childhood not to belong to that anymore. And at the same time, I had this conversation today with him saying, okay, you need to get help. You need to see, you know, from a shrink to a seminar, to whatever you want, but you have to work on it. From his point of view is that, you know, he can work on it on his own, and that, you know, we're missing each other. We don't see each other right now because I had to make that kind of choice. And I'm like, I don't want to be a judgmental saying, well, I know better than him. At the same time, I don't want to be a coach, you know. So I don't know, how do you perceive a partner if he has never done any work on himself, if he has no knowledge of what you're talking about, how to deal with all that? I don't want to be judgmental and say, well, he's not doing what I do, so he cannot be with me. I just don't know how to deal with all these things.
Yeah, and a common question that I get in a lot of my clients is, you know, I can be really happy and, you know, I'm doing good with my momentum, but my partner, my husband, my wife is very unhappy, right? And that person keeps dragging me down. I don't know how to disconnect from them, right? And what I tell people is, you know, your partner, the person that you're with, you know, they have a choice, right? They have the right to be as unhappy as they want to be, right? They have the right to live the life they want to be. Yep. If they want to live a miserable life, it's their choice.
Yes.
Right? And no matter how badly we want them to change, we can't force it upon them. Right? Because if they're in the energy of not wanting to hear it or not wanting to change, right, they're not going to change because it's all inside. Yep. Right? So the only way you can truly help somebody else is by holding such a high vibration that you're going to inspire them to want to come join you there.
All right.
Right? So in your case, you know, you attracted this relationship because in some way you're a vibrational match to him. Right? So what I would do if I were in your shoes is I would look inside of myself and say, okay, so what part of me attracted this? Right? What am I, you know, what can I learn from this about my vibration? Right? And in what way can this help me grow? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, I mean, of course it does make sense. And I understand that, you know, what he's expressing, I would say, is a reminder of what I've known when I was a child. You know, my father was, you know, sometimes like bursting, I mean, more than one time, but bursting like anger. And we had never any understanding of who he was going to be that day.
Yeah.
And it was like something that, you know, I thought I worked hard on it, and, you know, to free myself and really belong to myself. But when I've met, you know, this gentleman, I realized that, wow, that is a reminder again that it's still alive, you know, inside me.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he has a generosity that did not, you know, belong to my father. So, you know, that's why if it was just what was my father, I would say it would be easy for me to let go.
Yeah.
But there is a generosity and he's a generosity that did not exist in my father. So there is this little plus that I'm saying, all right, be aware that you're not perfect yourself.
Yeah, so there's still a vibrational match to that aspect of the experience.
Yeah.
So for you, and I don't want to dig into your whole attraction point tonight, but what I would say is look into, how does this anger issue make me feel, right? Yeah. And it might be something like self-worth. It might be something like not good enough. And those are the emotions you want to look into and see if those are sitting there and want to try to deal with.
Okay, perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great questions. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Hey guys. So my question is, I think I know the answer, but it's a good reminder. So it's already kind of butchered a topic. So let's say you have a desire and you're like, damn, I have already butchered it. It already feels bad thinking about it. I'm totally desperate.
Okay.
So staying off the topic, would you have to kind of fix what you messed up with that, or just completely let it go?
Have you heard, so momentum-wise, your desire is heading towards you, right? So as long as you're not creating any resistance, then your desire is on its way, right? Okay. Abraham's been using this train analogy lately. Have you heard that one with the cabooses?
Yes, yes.
So like as soon as you've got a desire that's in your vortex, then that train is on its way to you. But then if you add a piece of resistance onto the back of it, it's going to pull the train in the opposite direction, right? So the more resistance you have, the more trains are kind of sitting in the opposite direction. So if you can get yourself to a non-resistant place by staying off the topic, then it should be on its way to you, right? Okay. Now, the more specific you get around the desire, as long as you're feeling good about the desire, then, it's going to help in the momentum of it. But again, you just need to stay off the topic and be resistant free for it to be on its way.
Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes when I'm feeling good about something and I stay off the topic, I feel it's done. It's all done. And I just let it go. But then sometimes if I feel I've already butchered it, I find my mind doesn't want to do it is done, because I'm like, oh no, I want to make sure it's done, but that it really is done and I wrapped it nicely and I didn't mess it up.
Yeah, and that's a big misconception, is that like you have to think about the desire every day, right? You have to do things to create, acceleration or momentum to draw that desire to you. And you don't have to draw that desire to you. You only need to stop doing the thing that's holding it back.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, in your experience, have you ever had a desire where you felt like you butchered it and then you forgot about it or let it go and it still came?
I guess it depends on how you define butchered it.
You got a little desperate, or you didn't feel good about it anymore. You didn't feel the effortlessness of it. You just felt kind of strained.
Nothing pops into the top of my head. Like I'm thinking about some of the bigger manifestations. What I do recognize is that everything always kind of showed up when I wasn't thinking about it, right? Like the book, for example, right? Like I tried 3 years writing a book, forcing it, nothing flowed. I kind of gave up, woke up like on this first week of January last year. And then within 5 days, 80% of the book was written, and I wasn't even trying to, it wasn't even on my radar. Right. Wow. So I realize, looking back, I recognize that pattern of all the big manifestations always happen when I was off the topic, or not trying to force it, or not trying to effort into it.
And when you got the inspiration to write the book, did you even think that you were going to sit down and write it, or was it totally like
I didn't even know I was writing the book, right? So I sat down with this inspiration to maybe write like a 10-page, freebie on my website or something, and I just wrote and it just kept flowing, right? Okay. And then five days later, it was like mostly done, right? And then, most of you probably heard the story. 5 days later, it was mostly done. 2 weeks, it was completely done, off to my editor. Got it back from my editor maybe like a month later, and then I couldn't get back to it for like 7 months. All I had to do was go back to it and do the edits, but I kept trying. I just couldn't get that momentum going to go back and finish the work. And over that time period, a lot happened. Wayne Dyer passed away. I reflected on his books a lot. And then when I came back to the book, finally 7 months later, I came back with this fresh new energy, right? And I added lots of stories. The book completely transformed. And that's the reason I think people enjoy the book so much today, right? Is the new energy that got added to it when I got back to it. So a lot of that is about trusting in the flow as well, right? Even though the book felt like it was like 90% done, not being able to get back to it was really frustrating, right? Mm-hmm. But looking back, I now realize that 7-month break was really what allowed me to add a lot of the magic into the book.
Yeah, it's almost like letting go in the bigger picture as well. There's a small picture and then the bigger picture of letting go and just trusting that the flow.
Totally. Good questions. Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the chat messages. So Elizabeth said, hi, Nick. If the thing we want is money in order to achieve a bare minimum of just paying bills, would this be considered as trying to achieve security and stability? So I would say yes. So if you're in a place where you're kind of in financial desperation, and the reason it's so hard for a lot of people to manifest money is because it's always in our face, right? And our bills are always reminding us of our lack of money if we're in that situation. So it's harder to get off the topic. But when it comes to money, you want to reach for those feelings of freedom, right? Reach for those feelings of safety and security, and reach for the feeling of being empowered, right? And if you haven't watched the podcast recording on money and wealth mindset, it's like the bonus call on the website. I suggest going back and watching that.
On your website, you said?
On the website, InTheVortex.Party.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking at Kay Alkert's question, so I have a question around the magnitude of happiness I allow. So go ahead, Kay Alkert. Yeah, there you are. Go ahead.
I'm trying to hit unmute here.
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, hey, everybody. Hey, Nick. I seem to be able to let go to a degree where I can be content, I can be happy in my day, but going towards something like real joy or enthusiasm or excitement doesn't really seem to be something that I approach. And I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, so that can be a bit of a long discussion, but in a nutshell, joy is our natural state, right? That's why it's so easy for young children to be happy, right? As we grow older, we collect emotional baggage, right? And we start to create negative mindset and momentum, right? So it's the negative emotions that we collect that plus out of that natural state of joy. So getting back up there is kind of a 2-step process. One, it's dealing with the emotional baggage, right? So when I work with my one-on-one clients, 80% of the work is emotional baggage clearing, right? It's a lot of tapping, EFT. So part of the work is that clearing work. The other part of the work is the mindset and the momentum work. And the mindset and the momentum work is about the first thing when you wake up in the morning, your mind's in a neutral state. Most people start thinking about all the stressful things that they have to deal with that day. That automatically starts creating negative momentum in your mind, and it's harder to break it. So the second part is getting to that positive mindset mentality as early as you can in the day, and then trying to hold it all day. Right? And that's exercises like appreciation journaling, positive aspect lists, meditations, things of that nature. So again, it's about dealing with the emotions that weigh you down, right? Going back up, and then the mindset. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I've been doing the morning momentum, and that's been really helpful. I guess, do you have a recommendation as far as like studying EFT? Is that something that you need to find somebody to work with, or can you just?
Yeah. So EFT, there's kind of 2 options. Option 1 is like hopping on YouTube, finding videos you can kind of tap along with. But what I tell people is that's only marginally effective compared to working with a practitioner. Because working with a practitioner and make sure you do it with somebody who's certified and well trained. As a practitioner, I know what cues to look for and I know where to go. So for example, we layer the emotions in our body. So you might have anger on top, sadness under that, powerlessness under that. So you need to get at the right aspects in order to really get at the root of the problem. And when you're tapping by yourself, it's often really hard to do that because you're in the energy of the problem. It's hard to see or tell what's coming up next or where to go. So even for me personally, I'm certified, my girlfriend's trained. If I've got something I really need to tap out, I'll get her to lead a session on me and vice versa, right? So most people that I've talked to who've had a hard time with tapping or say, oh, tapping hasn't worked for me, it's mostly because they've tapped online and haven't worked with a practitioner. And there's a few people here in the group, Gail or Carolyn, maybe a few other people who have done private tapping, and they'll be able to tell you how big of a difference it is. Does anybody want to comment on that? Yeah, go ahead, Gail. What's your experience been?
Down here. There it is. Okay.
Maybe share a bit about your tapping experience.
Full disclosure, I'm working with Nick privately, and the tapping has raised a lot of things to the surface that I wasn't even really aware of that was there. And like Nick said, it's layer after layer after layer. And I've only had 4 sessions with him, and actually I'd only had 3 when I had a really big thing happen. I had a friend, she's actually on here, who invited me to come down and spend some time with her in Costa Rica. And I had all this stuff around safety going on. And I had some financial stuff going on. But sorry, I'm kind of babbling here. Let me get my head together. What was the question? It wasn't about what my story is. What was the question?
Your experience with EFT tapping with the practitioner, like tapping with me versus tapping, with videos or by yourself.
Okay, I've never tried it online. I've never gone to YouTube. I've never tapped in that way. I did one of the group tapping sessions that Nick did a few months ago, and that was really beneficial. It was good, but tapping with a practitioner took it to a whole other level. Tapping in the group setting, it felt like I released some stuff, but it felt sort of minimal in comparison to tapping with Nick.
Yeah, and that's because with
personal session.
Yeah, and that's because with the group you have to stay more general. But when you're tapping with somebody privately, you can get right specifically to the root cause of what they've got going on. And I think the key thing is what you said about you didn't realize a lot of that was there, right? And most people don't. So when I talk about emotional baggage, there's really this lack of understanding of how much emotional baggage people have. And the reason for that is that we've been carrying this baggage for so long that we don't realize it's there. Right? The analogy I use is a dishwasher. If you're in the kitchen, you turn your dishwasher on, you'll hear it for the first 30, maybe 45 seconds, and then you kind of tune it out and you don't hear it anymore, right? Even though it's still running and it's still making noise, it's more in the background now, you don't notice it, right? So we've been doing the same thing with our emotions, right?
I think we get so used to feeling a certain way, that makes it really hard to identify what's really going on. And it's so multi-layered, everything is so intertwined, it's when you're in it, it's hard to see it. Whole forest for the trees thing.
Exactly. Thanks for sharing, Gail.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So how does that answer your questions?
Yeah, quite a bit. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. I see Michelle. Hey, Michelle. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Did you have a? Yeah.
So I just have a question. Since it's been a while since I've been on here, so it's great to see all you guys.
Sure.
Vibe has really been really high. Manifested a free cruise and free clothes to wear on the cruise, and
Awesome.
a lump sum of money that I really needed, like within 24 hours. But at the same time, I feel like my I don't know if it's my attraction point or what, but because my vibe is so high, I don't feel like I have a filter for what I'm drawing or attracting. It just feels like it's either really good or it really sucks.
Okay.
So I don't know how to shift it so that I don't know how to shift the point of attraction. I know it's stuff that I've already put into the vortex, but it feels like a little bit like it's, I don't know if it's old stuff or what's going on with it.
Is it a lot of, so you're really good or really bad? Okay. Now, I don't want you to focus on the really bad stuff, but let's just talk about it really quick. So if you look at all the real bad stuff that's been happening, are you noticing a pattern?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just financial stuff right now.
Okay. So
That I am making headway on, but because I had no income for 4 months, it just feels like my momentum stopped in that area.
okay, so what I would doing what I would start with is try to stay off the topic, and then every day do some positive aspect lists around feelings of like freedom and safety.
Okay.
So what that means is basically every day spend some time writing on paper the things that make you feel free in your current reality or in your past. So that bring up the emotional of freedom. So today I can do whatever I want. I have the day off, right? I'm going on a cruise and it's all paid for, right? You know, I don't have any kids living at home. I can blast the music if I want to, right? Anything for you that brings up feelings of freedom, you want to get into that vibration. So spend some time every day writing those things down. The more you can shift your set point from, you know, however the lack of funny makes you feel to where you want to be, that's what you want to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
That answers your question?
It does.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Does anybody else have any more questions? Yeah. Go ahead, Gabby. And Katie. Katie. Okay. Go ahead, Gabby.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Nice to be back. So I want to just maybe pick up on your talk and what Carol said as well before, because it's interesting when you said, you know, when you let go of something and you stay off the topic, things just happen and you don't. I had something like that over Christmas where, because I've been trying to manifest changes in my work for a while and I'm working on it and it happens, a little bit happens and then it doesn't happen again. And then I was just at home deciding that I was just gonna chill out and have a good time with friends. And then stuff, as I was feeling really amazing, stuff came through. And I started to channel a lot, which I hadn't done for a while, and wrote everything down. And it was so clear and so quick.
And just to pause you for a second, like that lines up perfectly what I was saying at the beginning of the call, where if you stop focusing on trying to make the big things happen and just enjoy what's going on in front of you and have fun with what's going on in front of you, you're off the topic and things start showing up. So keep going, sorry.
So yeah, that's what happened. And then so I channeled lots of information about workshops that I want to offer. And then I had a friend just last week who I knew I'm very good with channeling ideas. I have millions of them, but I'm not so good in putting them in structures. So I knew I needed help with that. And I also kind of asked for that. And then last week my friend said, yeah, she sat down, she has her own yoga studio, does workshops herself. And I read her some of my stuff and she said, that's it. These points, exactly the way you have them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's the workshop. And I was like, really? So now I have my first workshop coming up in March or April.
Perfect.
Which is very exciting. But my question is, so this is one side of the work, but then with the sort of acting side of the work and the voiceover, I'm starting, yeah, it's kind of like, it's interesting, but maybe I'm working at it still too much. And I have something coming up tomorrow where everything always happens with this other work, everything happens on the same day. So all the things I want to do, they all happen on the same day. Okay. So tomorrow for the last 2 days, I've had to learn a really long script for a corporate job, Thursday, Friday. And there's so much to learn and I'm still not finished. I have to do more tomorrow. They're sending me more tomorrow. But then there's a workshop that I really, really wanted to do with a casting director for the Harry Potter films. That's something I really want to be in, right? And I booked it before Christmas, was really looking forward to it. And now I have this stuff again so I might not be able to go. And I'm like, where do I choose?
Oh, there's two things I would do. One, I would work on getting into the vibration of ease.
Yeah.
Okay, because it feels like there's a lot of effort there, right? So I would work on getting in the vibration of ease. Try positive aspect lists, right? So focus on the ease, how easy it is to walk over to the tap and get a glass of water, right? How easy it is to breathe in the beautiful air that you've got going on wherever you live, right?
So about general things, not about the work.
It doesn't have to be about the work, right? Because if you can get in the feeling of ease, then that feeling of ease will carry over to work.
Okay.
Right? So that vibrational set point will be dominant in all aspects of your life. So work on getting in the feeling of ease. And then how do all these work conflicts make you feel?
Not good. They make me confused. And I'm like, this is what I want to do, but I have to do this. And I'd rather, yeah.
Okay, so is it
I'm having to do all of it. I'm trying to be at 10 places at once, and I don't want that. I want it more spread out.
okay, and if it wasn't like that, how would you feel? If it was opposite of that?
Aha, so going to the feeling of what it would feel like to have that already.
Yeah, if everything was so easily scheduled and so effortless, how would you feel?
I would feel at ease, so easy. I would feel, I would really enjoy myself more rather than trying to.
So there's the word, right? Trying, right? Effort, right? That's keeping you out of the receiving mode. So yeah, so your only homework right now would be just to work on getting in the vibration of ease.
Ease. And also clarity, I feel, to know, to be more clear about what I want and then just focus on that rather than on what I don't want.
And the clarity will come as you let go of the efforting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the efforting creates resistance that's going to prevent the clarity. So if your vibration's clean and you're high vibing and you're in a state of joy, you're not efforting, the clarity and the inspiration will come in because you'll be in alignment.
Because that's my other thing that sometimes because of all these things happening, I'm like, what do I actually want? And I get confused. And then the more I try to find out what is it that I want to do, what is it, the more I'm asking or trying, the more I get confused.
Yeah, so just work on happiness and work on ease.
Okay.
That's simple. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Katie? Katie?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Okay, so basically, I'm in my ideal relationship now. Like, it's better than I could have ever imagined, and I'm more blissful than I've ever been. But it's a long distance relationship, and we both know the end result that we want, which is being together in person, living together. And he's in another country, so it's like a whole moving visa, all that stuff thing. So we know the end result, but we don't know the how. We know we're working toward it. We don't know how we're going to do it financially because we're both still financially dependent on our families quite a bit. And basically what I'm asking is, do you think that the thing for me to do would be, while still taking action on making myself more financially independent, do you think I also need to be trying to keep in the vibration of like what it'll be like when we are together in person, living together? Like, do I need to be trying to feel as if he's already here, we're already together, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So what I would do is, first of all, I would stay out of the how, because you don't need to figure it out. You just need to become a vibrational match to the experience that you want, which is, of course, being together with him. So the first thing I would do is I would ask myself, if he were there living with you now, how would that feel, right? Write those emotions down, and those are the emotions you want to work towards being in. The other thing I would do is I would look at how the circumstance makes you feel now. So look at the negative emotions that it brings up. And what I would do is I would look at past significant relationships and see if those same emotions surface in those past significant relationships as well. That would indicate that those are kind of dominant negative emotions that you have going on. And those would be the kind of the primary emotions you'd want to deal with. So right now, if you said that him not being there with you makes you feel powerless, then I would say look at your past relationships as well, or see if powerlessness is something that's come up frequently in your past and other circumstances. And if it does come up frequently, then that's an emotion you're going to want to try to shift.
Okay. Yeah,
does that make sense? Yeah.
Definitely.
So looking at those patterns is a way to really identify what you've got going on in your attraction point.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, but the main comment is you don't need to figure it out. The inspiration, once you're in vibrational alignment with the experience, the inspiration will show up on its own.
Okay, yeah, that feels a lot better.
Good. Does that answer your question okay?
Yep, thank you.
Awesome. Good, thanks for asking. Okay, anybody else got their hand up? Oh yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was just wondering how you felt about goals, specifically yourself, if you work on goals or.
Yeah, it's an interesting question that you mentioned goals, because I've been actually reflecting on goals a lot this last couple of weeks, because with 2017 and New Year, people are busy goal setting, right? And my 2 cents on, I don't like the word goal, because to me a goal makes it sound like it's something you need to achieve to be happy. Right? And what I see in a lot of, I do coaching for a lot of people who want to be coaches and a lot of entrepreneurs. And I see a lot of people who are so obsessed with achieving their goal that they kind of get out of balance. And 80% of the time that they're awake is spent focused on achieving that goal. Right? And the end result is that they're less happy, because goals often take, months or years to achieve, and they're not happy because their goal hasn't kind of showed up yet. Right? So that's one aspect of goals. So for me in my goal setting, it's all about, how do I really want to feel? Right? I'll write down, I'll come up with desires that I want, right? Maybe amount of money or the number of coaches, number of clients I want a month. And so I'll come up with desires like everybody else, and I'll write them down on paper. I'll do some intent setting. I'll put it aside. And for me, like my resolution for 2017 is getting into the receiving mode as much as possible, which means just chilling out, right? Going for a massage every week, going for a float every week. I bought myself a hot tub, right? So my goal and my goal setting, and what I would tell my clients in goal setting, is reach for your goals from a vibrational sense, not necessarily from an efforting and an action-oriented sense, right? So again, I would like to replace the word goal with desire, right? Because a desire sounds like there's less effort required to achieve it. And then I would work on it from an emotional perspective rather than I need to work hard to make this happen perspective. Does that make sense?
Very, very much so. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. That was easy. I think I was ready for your question before you asked it. Go ahead, Gail.
There we go. So this last month, this is just a share. I don't really have a question, but this last month, I have worked way less than I have in previous months. I've had way more inspiration. Things are flowing. I've taken on new clients that I was kind of like, well, where did these people come from? But they just kind of showed up. One of the things I was tapping on with Nick was around feeling stuck. And so I was working on getting into the vibration of feeling free, and got this invitation to go to Costa Rica. Okay, how am I going to pay for this? Is this really the best financial move right now? Completely surrendered all attachment to it, booked the ticket, and the next day booked a client that covered the cost and then some the very next day. And I've been, the trip itself, I've never traveled by myself to a foreign country where I didn't speak the language. So this was a pretty big deal for me. And Nick had me write out the trip, everything positive that's going to happen, everything exciting that's going to happen, and putting a lot of emotion into it. And I did that. And I wrote like over 10 pages longhand of everything that was going to happen and how great I was going to feel. And to date, not everything has turned out exactly how I wrote it down. If it didn't turn out how I anticipated it, it turned out better. Okay. Every single thing so far. It's been remarkable.
And that exercise is called pre-paving. Yeah.
Pre-paving. Okay, there you go.
Oh, good.
So yeah, getting into the emotion of it, it just started falling into place. And completely surrendering, letting myself take more downtime, way more inspiration, clients, everything started happening.
Awesome.
Yay, yay, Nick.
Good update. Awesome. And I am not paying Gail to come on here and promote my services. Any more questions? Yeah, go ahead, CG. Oh, I got you unmuted. There you go.
Okay. I'm going to ask, I don't know, I was going to say a stupid question, but I'm going to respect myself into that question.
Yeah, no stupid questions.
Exactly. When you are facing like a really, but I mean a really, really, really tight financial situation, and that you want, your life to get better. Obviously you have books, even the one that, yours that I'm reading right now and so on, but I can tell the difference of having a coach like, this lady is using, through your knowledge and your help. That is the tricky moment in a lifetime when you want to really transform your life. Your finances are so low that you cannot even spend money for a massage, which things I love. So how can we get to the transformation that suddenly we can have somebody like you helping us? Obviously you want the money that you deserve and everything. So there is this huge confusion of how to, I don't know how to shift the whole thing.
Yeah. So would you agree that, so you believe in the law of attraction?
Yes.
And you believe that everything is vibration and you attract the circumstances that match your vibration?
Yes.
And do you agree that you have 100% full control of your vibration? Nobody else does?
Yes.
Okay. And so then vibrationally, you're either going to be in the energy of the problem or the solution, correct?
Yeah, but right now, as far as I am aware of myself and taking full responsibilities, that I guess I dip more into the lack of vibration than the fullness of it. So, and is there something? That's what it is right now. Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is that you're either going to be in the vibration of the problem or the solution on any topic, right? And that vibration is purely vibrational, which we do have control over. So if you can get yourself into the vibration of the solution, regardless of your finances, regardless of your relationship, regardless of everything else, if you can get into the vibration of the solution and maintain it, the solution has to appear. It can't not appear, or else law of attraction wouldn't work, right? So again, all you need to do is vibrationally get yourself to a place where you're in the vibration of a solution, and the solution will show up. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but it's not what is happening to me. Yeah.
So what you need to do is really focus on, getting off the topic, creating the positive momentum. It's a lot of it is about it's not about just jumping into a vibration and then you don't want to just reach out and touch it, right? It's about consistency, right? So for you, it's about on a daily basis, really committing to the way you feel in your vibration.
And at the same time, not to take over the conversation, but at the same time, I feel like I'm on it every day, trying, not trying, really, and definitely take time to open myself to this new vibration that I've never used, because I guess that if I would have used them before, things would have been very different. So I have to tap on new vibration, and I've been working on it for the past, maybe 9 months. And
yeah, so that might just mean that there's something you're not seeing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Blind spots.
Yeah. So again, just keep focusing on identifying, what desires do I want? These are the emotions I need to feel in order to have those desires, and really work on getting into those emotions, right? Okay. And set your intent, right? Set your intent for solutions to show up, right? And really, really try working on staying off the topic.
Okay.
And just focusing on being happy and not resisting the problem, right? Because if we resist the problems that we're in, oftentimes they're just going to keep persisting, because if you're resisting them, you're focusing on them. And if you're focusing on them, you're going to be stuck in them.
So what is the difference between resisting and being out of the subject?
If you're resisting, it means you're focusing on the problem. And if you're focusing on the problem, you're going to get more of it.
No, I understand, but what is the difference? But you said to me, okay, do not focus on it anymore.
Yeah. So if you're off the topic, you're not even
off the topic. Sorry.
You're not even thinking about the problem. Right? So if you're off the topic, if you're busy walking your dog, or playing with kids and you're fully engaged in what you're doing with them, right? One exercise that I recommend is puzzles, right? Because if you can do puzzles, they fully take up all of your focus, you're off the topic of money.
Yeah.
Right? So things like exercise, biking, running, puzzles, people who love to cook, right? And I'm not talking about just making craft dinner, right? Doing things that make time fly. Those are the things that you're off the topic because your mind is fully engaged in what you're doing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, of course, it does make sense. It's just, yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Vanessa.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're saying, getting off the topic, what if the challenge is health? So for me, I have a health issue that's always there because I haven't been able to shift the momentum. We're talking for like 8 years now. So it's difficult for me to get in a place and just completely forgetting about it. Because even if I say I'm doing a puzzle or doing something, the symptom is always there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have to get off the topic 100% for the manifestation to show up. So the more you're off the topic, the least amount of resistance you hold against it, which is good. So, don't think that because you can't get off the topic ever that it'll never go away, right? So when it comes to physical conditions, it's there's two things to look at. One is dealing with the emotional root cause that's causing the symptomology, right, the condition. And then second, it's focusing on the aspects of your physical condition or your physical body that are positive and that are working for you.
Okay, I got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you, if it's a specific condition and you want more details on the emotional mental root causes of that condition, send me an email and I can send you some excerpts out of a book that might be helpful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Just send me an email on the contact form on my website or reach out on Facebook.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I got time for maybe one or two more calls. I see your hand. Go ahead, Gabby. Or one or two more questions.
I just have a quick question to clarify something you said earlier. So if you have a desire, you don't need to create movement towards it. As soon as you ask, it's coming to you.
Correct. Yeah. Once the moment. So once there's, as Abe has, once there's 16 seconds of focus, right? And then you do that multiple times. So I tell my clients, meditate on the desire, get specific. So do a pre-paving exercise or writing exercise to get specific, meditate on it for maybe 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, feeling like you've got it. Once you've done that, it's done. You just let it go and it's on its way.
What's pre-paving?
Pre-paving is an exercise where you basically write out the experience. So for me, I pre-pave my week. So on Monday, and sometimes I do it for my days too. So like this morning, I would go and I would write out, what my day would look like from morning till evening. So I'd write down all my client sessions, how good they went, how I would receive a speaking engagement offer today. So it's basically like telling the universe what your day is going to look like. So with Gail, I told her to prepay her trip. So write down how the flight's going to go, the cab ride, the travel, the things you're going to do, the things you're going to see, how you're going to feel, right up until you get home.
Okay, and then they always show up exactly how you write them down.
It's eerie how closely it is. So I had one client whose wife was going into labor within the next few weeks. And when he prepaved, he wrote something down about how friendly the nurse was that was assisting them and how she had 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls. And the nurse exactly matched it, including the kids. Right? I had a client that was a car salesman who I told him to prepave his next sale, and the couple that came in matched to a T. So it can be very powerful. I see you're flashing your hand up there, Gail. Did you want to add? Yeah, go ahead.
So not everything is worked out exactly as I wrote it down, but the things that didn't work out exactly turned out even better than I wrote them down.
Yeah.
So it was a total win. It wasn't exact, it was better.
Awesome. And that's a sign that you're in high alignment too, so good job.
Cool.
Okay, keep going, Gabby.
So, and you're supposed to do this every day? No, every week. You're doing it
You
every
have
week?
to, like, so I'll do it like at the beginning of the month for a month, and then I'll do it weekly. If I've got a big day, I'll do it for the day. So like if you're going in for an audition, do it for your audition, right?
Before.
Write down before you go in and write it in present tense as if it's already happened. So you'd write stuff down like, oh, I love how much I connected with the people doing the audition. I love how much they loved, the way I portrayed that character. I love how friendly they were. I love how excited they were about my performance. I love how they want to offer a lot of money for this gig.
Okay.
Make sense?
So you don't need to take any physical steps. Because I always think, maybe that's where the efforting comes from, taking physical steps. Like, for instance, this thing tomorrow, right? I'm thinking, if I go and meet this casting director, then I'm taking a step. But now I'm maybe thinking, maybe I don't need to go. Maybe there's another way.
No, but does going to meet him excite you?
Initially, yeah, but now I have all these things going on where I'm like, oh, I hope I'll be able to be there 100%,
Can you go for it for the fun of the audition and just do it for the joy of the experience?
That's what I thought. Just go there for.
So here's what you're going to do. So tonight before your audition, so it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So grab a piece of paper before you go to bed and pretend you're watching the audition on a TV screen, speaking as if, and just write out how the whole audition goes.
Okay.
Right? On paper in as much detail as you can, and then just put it away. Right? And then go with the intent that whatever's meant to happen is meant to happen. It's already done, and just go and have fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it feels good already.
Good. Awesome.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. One last final question, anybody? Go ahead, Michelle. You got the last spot. Oh, you're still muted. Hang on a sec. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Does the pre-paving, Gail was saying that it didn't limit her. So does it not, if you want this or something better, then is pre-paving sort of limiting you as to what can transpire and what the universe, because you can't always see some possibilities.
Yeah, no, that's a misconception, right? A lot of people think, well, if I make a list of like 50 things I want in a partner, then it's way too specific and it can't show up, right? But that's obviously false. Like Nick, before we met, she wrote a list of 50 things and I matched 48 of them, right? And as Gail was saying, the things that haven't happened in her pre-paving, exactly as she pre-paved it, happened even better, right? So the universe knows what you want. So it's just a matter of trusting that it can bring you exactly what you want or better.
Okay, so you don't have to say this or something better. When
No, the universe knows.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because I just don't want to limit myself. Like.
Oh, you're not limiting. The bigger part of you is in the non-physical, right? And that non-physical part of you wants you to have all the things that you want and better, right? So it's working to bring all that stuff to you.
And you can use the pre-paving for anything?
Absolutely. I used to pre-pave my days. Now, I'm more selective when I do it. But you can pre-pave an audition. I pre-pave all my speaking engagements. I'll pre-pave my client sessions. Pre-pave all the way.
Sort of like sending Reiki in advance.
Totally. Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, good question. Any final last really quick questions? No? All right, so thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll try to get the recording up online in the next couple of days. Good call. We'll see you guys again next time. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening and much appreciation for everyone who jumped in on the call. If you want to participate in future calls, suggest a call topic, or be notified of our next episode, be sure to subscribe at http://InTheVortex.Party or come hang out in our InTheVortex.Party Facebook group. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to leave a review or click the share button to share with others.